take a look and try to find it there. This one's a little rough, but you can see that print right there. There's the toe, comes down to the heel. Yeah, there's a couple. Well, that other one is by the chair there, over here, but I'm trying to find the really, really good one to do. So you really can't see it. You got one?
Yeah, it's one here, but I mean, it's not one you can cast, but it's a big boy. Something's sticking in there.
So it's right there. You've got a terrible sun.
I don't know, you might want to look at it, Lonnie. You might be able to get.
Let me see if I put the shadow on it. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll put my foot alongside of it. But anyway, it was right here. You just have a really bad glare. And the reason I put the bucket and stuff there is because I was going to go ahead and attempt to cast it maybe. Where's it at, Dan? See, there's multiples in here.
Yeah, they're moving around. You can tell that they're not like standing, you know what I mean? One's going this way, the other's this way, that one.
Right, they're traveling. Yep. So that one over there is the one I was going to try to cast. But I know there was a better one. And the only problem is the rain. It came down like crazy. Now, if we find a fresh one, we know it was right. Fresh, super fresh.
Another one. It's not castable, but right here.
That's the way they're walking, in and out. Come on, give me a good one here. See, guys, when you start to actually find them, this is the area where the baby in the tree was captured, down in there. The camera was placed up in that section. I don't like to point, but for reference, I have to tell you. And if you look in the video, there's no wind, so nothing was. There's a possible. So nothing was. You know, the leaves and branches weren't moving. That one specific branch by itself was going, you know, berserk, craziness. You could see something. It is a little blurry, I understand. But when you do find them, look how long it's taken us. Almost, what, 2 months now to relocate them? At least 2 months. So when you do start to find them, this is where you got to start doing things. I'm trying to look in the mud here to see. I know it's hard for you guys because the way the sun comes in, but they were traveling up and down through here. So we'll see. What I need is a stick here. 15, 16?
I'd say probably like 16, 17 with it displayed, maybe. Yeah, 16.
By 6.5. The half comes over here, 6.5. And then at the heel, it's narrower. 5.5, 6. We'll see.
That's just a massive foot.
Huh?
That's a massive foot.
Well,
man,
pretty big, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully being a little closer, you can see the heel. It goes up and around. Well, we'll see. Sturdy enough here. There's a root right here. So on the back there's a curvature, kind of like the way the foot slid. But we'll see if it works. Just gonna let it dry. here and we're gonna sit for a little while, and that's the whole plan. I'll let this dry. I'm gonna show you really quick here. So that's what it is. Let me get you brightened up here. Yeah, that might be too bright. I'll leave it on that. That should be alright. Grab my chair, let that dry. We're gonna do a couple other things too. Here, actually, this is what I'm gonna do. I added some filters, and don't know what you can see, don't know what you can't see, don't know if it changes things, but this is just some new ideas in the field. Why not, right? That's the creek bottom down there, and one of these trees, actually I should try to figure out what tree was being violently shaken. That would make some sense, hey? Sounds like a good idea. So it was somewhere down in here, because the cam was up there, so this is probably the right distance. Let me just set my chair here on this flat ground. Take my backpack off. And then let's try to figure out what trees were being smashed. They were being violently shaken. Wasn't a black bear, because you would have seen the black. So I'm gonna try to go where the cam was. Okay, so where am I? Alright, the cam was down through here. Little print?
I mean, it's, small, but
it's almost like they avoid
real mud.
So I had the cam in there, and what happened is it was turned, and so it was kind of looking, let me take this off. It was looking in that direction, so it would have to be right in here. So that's where I'm going to look to see if there's broken trees or what. So, because I remember this tree, and it was right by, if you go to the video and look at this big downed one, it was like right in here. And I'm going to try to go through the tree right there. It is. It's probably ripped right out of the ground, but that looks like it's still got greenery on it. And this is how you do follow-ups. Don't tell me. Here's the tree right here. I'm gonna bet you 10 to 1. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's still got dirt on it. Look at that. Still fresh. That could possibly be the tree that it was tearing at. And And there's a possible print right there. Right there. Go by the creek a little bit. Oh, there's another possible. Where am I? It was right there where it was just... But if they're not good, they're not good, plain and simple. Sorry, it is windy today, guys. Any other prints? See, in this leaf litter, you're just not going to get it. Yeah, it wasn't this pine tree, I think. It was right over there, and that makes sense that that tree's down. Then you'll start to find a lot of rocks. Lots and lots of rocks. And I'll show you one of the reasons. You know, the reason we ended up here was Google Earth. Some of my research, and it's an area that they cross. Let me brighten you up a little bit here. Let's see, and we ended up here because okay, let me see, where is it? Because we seen where they could possibly be crossing. There's a possible little print right there, indentation. So I think there's a family unit, and this is where we talked about, we thought they were through the winter. And then we started finding breaks and bends and all kinds of things. Like you guys can see that. And it's stuffed right by that old tree. Right there's the tip of it. See how it's broke off? Right. Let me see, where are we? There, that's the tip of it. Now look, I'll take you to this other one. See how the tip is? It was like broken and twisted. Well, this is an actual tree. It used to stand up and it was pulled down. So with the Google Earth research and some of the things that we learned, it kind of brought us to this area here. And it's been pretty good so far. But then again, it's taken us 2 months to get here because of the wind turbines being installed. And we ran across this gentleman with this big farm here, 375 acres. It all kind of came together, and then this is where, like I said, just the 19th, the baby footage was caught. I consider it a baby. It's all opinion and speculation, but when you do the research and it all starts to add up, the Google Earth, the patterns, and then you're seeing the foot tracks, then you're getting the reports, and then you have something like that happen. Sorry about the sun. It all makes sense. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of things. If it was a bear, you probably would have seen it. There's a piece of footage that I'm actually upset about. See, there's another rock. It's like they throw them around in here. There's a piece of footage that I accidentally deleted, and it was from here, and it shows part of, man, there's another rock. These were not all here at all. Look at this, is a big one. Yeah, because I've walked through here before. I know that wasn't there. And I lost my train of thought because of that rock. But the piece of footage what had happened is that night after the so-called situation with the baby shaking the tree violently, something came from that direction and was walking up this way, which was caught on the cam. And it's a dark mass, and all you see is this dark mass, and like right about here near this tree here, it looked that way, and there was, you could see eye shine roughly 8.5 feet in the air, and you see it almost looked like an orb of energy, because it, you know, it was just, but it wasn't moving, it was just, you could tell it was like an eye shine. But the funny part, they talk about bioluminescence. There was no light source to give it the eye shine. So that's what made me believe it was Sasquatch. But when I was going through the footage, I accidentally deleted that portion off of the SD card. I'm going to try to get it back. I don't know if I'll be able to, but those are the things that happen. It's not easy. Sometimes we make mistakes, and it just works that way. But I got that cast drying. We're gonna get it set up here to sit for a little while, and I'll get back with you. So ran across this bend right there, and it's all shoved down into there. One of the main reasons we started coming into here too is, you know, we started seeing a lot of these bends under these trees, and you know, just trying to follow that. Oh, that's a new piece broken off a tree right there. You can tell by the color it's not too old. I mean, technically you could even lay in there. Try to look at everything. Trees, foliage, whole 9 yards. I know at some points it gets really bright, but if I don't leave it at a decent decibel on the iris, it'll be dark, and you guys will be screaming at me. I'll be back. Oh, feels good to sit down. And I could see them coming across that ridge right there, that water source.
Yep, I'll turn to look, and you know, I didn't.
That's why I like to just sit, because they might come and observe us. You never know. Well, it all makes sense. Like I was telling people, I found this spot via Google Earth for the transitions. We started finding breaks immediately. We started finding things. Now we're finding tracks. Then I caught what's possibly a baby on video. How much more do you want to tie together?
And then I mean, you look at food sources, the water source.
Yeah, he said there's a whole bunch of strawberries, wild strawberries, up in that vicinity.
They're like just spread all over.
Spread all over back there?
Yeah.
I honestly don't even know if I'll get a signal. I was going to go live on Facebook.
Yeah, out here you never know.
Good luck. I highly doubt it. None? Me either. Well, I have to scrap that situation. This is some of the best stuff when you can just sit and observe. Down the road, there's some people that camp. And at night, I believe they can come up this, you know, from up in here and watch the people camp down that way. picture.
Watches or whatever it is, check out this. They're really consistent.
I told you, got one of them on photo.
They kept passing on them up. Every time we bring the flashlights or whatever, it stops for a few minutes and then as soon as we sit down, there it goes. Rock splashing, throwing rocks.
Sometimes I use this just to see for distance. I think this is one of their main travel routes. Up and down. Whoop! If I had a big enough log, I was going to do some knocks, actually. I know. Huh? I know. I used to have a, I don't know if it got lost or if somebody took it. You know, in the 50s, the prison guards used to have a, yeah, and it was like hickory, super hard. I had one of those, and it used to work great.
I bet they get a good sound.
It was great, and it was a real long one, and gone. Boop.
Leave that up to them, somebody found the keep it up or whatever.
Boop. Were you looking for a stick?
Yeah.
There may be one by the creek. So, they probably stay up where it's drier and walk down.
Walk down through. Or keep those marshes in the face. Keep them away. You know?
Prince? They don't come out of nowhere. That means they're coming here.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were here last time, there was, what, maybe one?
And they didn't, not yet, I think we found one.
I tell you, I told you, I think that logging pushed them off the hill, up into here. At least till maybe July, then maybe they come down.
They're ripping it up all season. But that keeps them away from it. Throws a crimp.
What happened?
Especially that throw was using deep shit.
Dude, it took us like 2 months. And I finally found where the cops been hanging out.
About what?
Up that way?
Yeah. How about the other one?
The next time I go over there, I want to check the bottom of that field out.
I was thinking that.
If you follow the wood line straight down and maybe break into the left, they're down in there. But there's a ravine down in there, and that runs the whole length of the back of those woods.
And you said you saw prints that cut right up through the tree bottom down there.
Yep, 3 sets.
Okay.
We played Ron Moorhead's tape in 2015 from the truck. I had all the doors open, and we played it for about 15 minutes, and then it got real weird. Like, there was 4 guys there. We were all scared. Kind of like, you could tell something was just outside of your eyesight, and we didn't have no flashlights that night. So we were just sitting there, and
so they had every advantage pretty much.
I didn't have the night vision, I didn't have the FLIR, I didn't have anything. And it got to the point where we were like, all right, let's go. Because the noises were like, you know, within the 20 to 30 yard range. Well, the next morning, we got back up there. We left, it was about 11 p.m. We left out of there. I got back up there like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. Me and 2 other guys. Just the one guy said, hey, I got to take a leak. Went over to the field, and there was 3 sets of tracks coming up. I casted a couple, and luckily, just as they dried, the farmer was coming with his big tractor. We asked him, you know, you ever heard or seen anything? And he kind of just looked at us, didn't say nothing, got back in the tractor. Like, I couldn't tell if it's you're nuts or if it's I ain't talking about it. The guy must have been 80.
Yeah, I would honestly say you probably just don't want to talk about it. That guy has been around there, and there's no way he hasn't seen those prints somewhere or something.
I asked him about the prints, and he just didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, who knows? You know, okay. Now I told you about that guy that I told you that did that. He had some kind of structure up there, and then it was turned in and they hit it with stone.
Right. Yeah, people don't believe it. People don't want to believe it. I'm going to move my chair up here with you. But I was trying to get us both on camera. But it's not easy.
Okay.
There's a lot of rocks. I mean, it could be glacial, but like, I don't remember them all like that before. Especially on the way in. There were some big ones. And I even said, you know, I walked through here before.
Never noticed them run.
Never.
I noticed, wasn't there a lot of deer print in here, or wasn't this one of the areas that didn't have a lot?
There's not a lot at all now.
No. I haven't seen hardly any sign with all this mud. I think maybe they're getting one front that I saw.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
And before, if I'm not mistaken, they were running through here pretty good.
The DEC gives you a number every year. At the end of the year, they talk about deer. You get a deer report. And they'll give it usually in the book, or you can call and get it. I'm going to tell you, I've hunted since I was like 8 or 9 with my old man, okay? Years ago, up in the hills, the Botwell area, cars and hunters were everywhere.
Yep, I do remember, yeah. When I was growing up, they were all over. They'd be in every state land packed. Yeah.
Now, I get there could be a decline in hunters, but if there's a decline in hunters, usually there's a spike in deer. I'm going to tell you the last roughly 5 years, there haven't been as many hunters because they haven't been taking as many deer. You know, year after year, hunters do the same thing, go to the same spots, end up getting where they got lucky the year before, get deer. Now, I mean, there's times where hunters are, I didn't see nothing. Did you get anything?
Yeah.
You know, and they're
Last
pulling.
year there was a lot of them.
And they're pulling their hair out, and so that tells me the deer population is way down. I myself have a hard time. I've got quite a few big bucks on the wall. You know, we usually have a camp full of guys, and you know, there's times where we have 6 or 8 of them hanging from the year.
I live in an area that's right outside. It's right outside of Casadega. You know, we're right on the outskirts, and we have a lot of deer because of the fields and the swamp. But what I tend to notice is they bed down. Like they have a big bed right behind our garden.
Right.
I mean, literally, they won't bother it. But the whole year they'll stay down there. The other day when I came in last Saturday night, they were down in there, and the bear even stayed in a couple different areas. You know, they have a certain travel lane they don't drive out of. But I don't see the deer. I see the deer in these little areas. They're closer to home. You know, it's not like when you're out in the woods you see it.
I just heard something, and it sounded like it was thrown unless something fell out of the tree. Came from over there. I heard like a tree branch break and then like a thud to the ground while you were talking. Go ahead. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, maybe the camera caught it, but with the wind it's kind of hard.
Yeah. I get it. I get what you're saying. They are down, and you don't see the hunters out like they used to be. You got to be the hardcore guys are.
But I mean, we still are. We all are. My camp will have 3 to 5 guys, and we have a very hard time trying to locate the deer. And then there's times where they just disappear no matter where we're going. If it's the core areas, if we're following them, if it's posting between bedding and feeding. I mean, it's got to the point where the deer numbers have got to be drastically lower than the DEC is reporting. I understand you have bear, and we kind of have the mountain lion thing going on.
The coyotes too, they do take their toll.
Right, but not in those type of volumes.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean?
Not the way deer should be around here.
I remember growing up, the deer, I mean, you'd see 5, 10 of them together. You'd go spotlighting and see 50 of them in a field.
Yeah, and you're right. It's gotten a lot harder. It's gotten a lot harder to find them spotlighting or just to find them in big groups.
It's gotten ridiculous.
One thing I did hear, that guy in Panama was telling me that where he lives, that's way out in the woods. You saw the outlay. He said he had like 2 troops of turkeys go through one day, and they had to be about 100 turkey apiece.
Really?
Yeah. Said he'd never seen anything like it. And another thing, you couldn't walk through, I'll tell you an animal that's down, you couldn't walk through a woods like this without picking up a grouse or two, you know? Remember when rough grouse would scare the shit out of you all the time?
Yeah.
You don't see them anymore.
No, you don't.
And granted, they're a ground bird and the coyotes can prey on them a little more, but they are. I mean, when I was a kid, they were all over. I can remember because grouse would get at the elderberries once they get fermented.
Right.
And you'll end up every year, you used to have a couple that would fly through the window, or somebody would have it happen.
Yep.
You don't hear about that anymore at all, which is a little bit crazy.
I mean, I know that like I said, a lot of our population of deer and birds, and it's down. And then people talk about bear, and I tell you what, I've been hunting, what is it now? 25 years, let's say.
Never seen one in the woods?
Once. I've seen one in the wild, and I've seen one set of tracks in the snow. And that was with my old man when I was like 15.
I've seen them in the wild around our house, but that's swamp. But my neighbor has never seen a deer in 40 years of hunting. We've never seen a bear in the woods in 40 years. The other couple months ago, there was one like.
We don't have that type of population, at least right here. They may be more toward the Stockton area, out toward Jamestown.
Yeah.
You know, you might get some stragglers that come through here, but it's, all in all, we're lucky. We don't have the snakes and, you know, we have spiders and all that, but, and I've actually caught some good stuff on camera, like on game cam. Really big spiders, like the size of my hand. Yeah, it was awesome. You know, I try to tell people, like, they can find these areas themselves, but people don't put two and two together a lot of the time. They're not about using Google Earth. They're not about trying to find the way they can cross the...
Yeah, looking at the hard parts. I don't think people really can look at it unless you've been a hunter or spent time in the woods.
If you have no knowledge of the woods, or you're not a hunter, it's 10 times harder.
Yeah.
If you didn't grow up into that, it's really hard.
And I mean, people don't think like they do either. Like, the one thing that I will give about the way they use like special forces techniques, basically.
Like recon.
Yeah. The way
military.
Everything they do is almost in that fashion.
It's like an OCD. It's like a paranoia.
Yep.
Christopher Noel has this theory that he's talked about, you know. It's something savant.
Idiot savant kind of thing, where they're almost like on the autistic spectrum. Is that what it is?
Yeah, he's got it like the autistic savant theory. I've got the paranoid theory.
I personally, myself, I think that at some point in our history, we probably hunted them to death, or vice versa, or something. And they've seen us in action. They see the way that we are to each other. Don't want anything to do with it.
There's more to this than we know. The amount of time I put in the last 5 years, in the last, you know, I mean, there's so many people doing this, and there's so many people, you know, we should be farther along. And you know, you talk about the people say, well, there's been one shot, or there's been specimens, but they never come to surface. You know what I mean? They never come to light. But
you think though, with some of the people that are, you know, that have,
I keep seeing this dark area up there, but it like keeps moving.
Some of the best wilderness trackers in the world out there, photographers that have gotten some of the most elusive species out there, and some come out here won't have any luck, you know, either. So
that's what I seen up there. And I was trying to take a picture, but the dark area keeps going away. I tell people, when you take pictures, focus on the dark areas. It's where they can hide. The sunlight doesn't, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's obviously what worked in Panama, because that's what I was doing. I was going right in.
Well, you did catch the photo of that one. And that's why I pointed it out to you. When you gave me the card and I seen it, I was like, I knew right then what it was.
Yeah.
It was a clear photo. That's the problem. They want to use science. And I don't know if science can answer this, unless you had a body or a carcass. You know, I'd love to come across one dead. Just,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know if that's going to happen.
I think I really do believe that I think they're primitive people, and they have to have some type of a tribal, you know, like a burial or something. And I don't know, have you ever, what's that one book that's out there that has the Neanderthals? I forget what the name is, but
Oh, there's so many books out there.
but I forget there's a name. People say when they've seen it that they look like this Neanderthal because this guy.
They kind of do. Some of them do.
And but it doesn't look like say
But that
like
could just
the
be age.
Neanderthal for Geico, but they have more of a apish kind
Right.
of, you know.
I've seen one like that, and
Yeah.
I've caught it on camera. But to me, I think that's just age. Like the deformation, it starts to get skinny. The bones in the face protrude. Kind of like the sagittal crest, like you're losing your hair. It'll recede. It looks. What is that?
Across the way.
You know what interests me too, though? Our other location has that big rock at it, and so does this one. That's kind of weird.
Boulder Fields, rock climbing. Good things to hide around anyway.
I mean, I like sharing a lot of information with people. It's good. You're gonna have your critics, you're gonna have your naysayers, you're gonna have the whole spectrum, you know. And I just wish more people would get into the field with people that know kind of what to look for, so they can learn properly. Because when we put it out there, you know, Rio, Michael Merchant, me, whoever it is, in Colorado, Cali, Sasquatch Omega, we all try to, we learn from each other, but each location has different things going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're kind of unique to your own area.
Yeah.
And then when you try to apply the techniques that, let's say, somebody has in Colorado to somebody in Utah, it may not work because the areas are different.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? So it's unique. Like I told people, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have some type of sighting. If I didn't have the interaction that I did, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be searching this out.
Yeah, I'd have a hard time believing it probably if I hadn't seen one, but I mean even now that was when I was 7 or 9, and you're always going to have it in the back of your head, and you wonder if, when you go over, you know what I mean?
A lot of times it's when
you've heard from your family or whatever, you saw something different.
Right.
But then, you know, you go back in that 1 second when you're a child, it's so clear that it could have been yesterday, then you know that wasn't just a blip, you know?
It's like it's etched in your mind. And I tell people that, like,
even the feeling you get, because I've had an instinct when I turn around,
your body's energy. It you know, it's like raising the hair on your arms.
That's exactly it. And that probably at that age was the first time I'd actually felt. I mean, that was the first time anything really.
Trust me, there's some times that we've been up in the woods and it's been gnarly. You hear that? That's where I'd like to go up the road and then walk in a little bit and just see what was up there. What?
Thought it was
Yeah.
scuffle.
And it's odd because that's the way they were coming. The prints were coming kind of like down to this valley.
Yep.
I try to tell people 9 out of 10 times, unless they're moving from point A to point B, they're not going to be standing up.
No.
They're going to be in a tree. They're going to be sitting on the ground.
I was going to tell you, I saw back there, and it was like behind a tree, kind of like maybe one of those little nested pines.
Yeah.
And it looked like something had been laying down making a bed, and it was in a nice little, you know, indentation and that shit all around us that you couldn't really see.
Right.
Would have been perfect for like a baby to sit there or something.
I noticed the babies go in trees a lot. Like, I don't know
Probably
why.
travel a lot. Almost.
I don't know, dude. I mean, you try to put all the best theories you can together from what you learn out here.
You'd think the babies would still be susceptible to prey animal. I mean, even though.
But not with Mama and Papa.
Not too close around, but if Mama and Papa leave them for any length of time, you know,
That's why I don't think that happens.
Yeah, probably not. But otherwise, that's
I mean,
why I
they're
would think
top of the food chain.
being in the tree would be a safety
I mean, they'll kill cats.
Yeah.
They'll kill bear. Out here, there's no real predators except humans.
Yeah.
We could shoot them, or people could shoot them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a rarity too. I mean, and you know what? Honestly, very few people spend a lot of time in the woods in the summer.
Right.
When they're out.
Yep.
Let's face it, it's not comfortable a lot of days, you know.
I noticed last year the weather grew hot, and we had all types of interactions. So was it hot where they had to move around, or a lot of times you're supposed to catch them in valleys when it's hot, and we were catching them on ridge tops. It's just, yeah, it's almost like you got to get lucky. You can try as hard as you want, but until you find an area where they're frequenting, it's worth nothing. Look at how many spots we hit this year in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
This just happens to be more breaks, more bends, more footprints. They don't come from nowhere.
Nope, not at all.
And nobody knows we're here. This spot.
No, it's not even like Center where people
Right.
might have an idea or something.
Right. This is just.
I noticed this spot, and then we found action at the one spot. There's been 2 places where we've actually seen a lot of cruising.
In that valley.
Yeah.
Just 2 spots.
So I think you're right. The whole windmill thing is really kind of shaking them up this year.
Yep. It's hard, dude. It really is. When you got to try to track them down, and that's what I was doing the last 2 months. This is kind of what I was waiting for.
Yeah. And that's kind of cutting. I mean, it's cutting right through some of the prime zones.
It's going to push them left, push them right, push them out. And the thing is, what makes this is what I want to kind of learn and teach. What makes it their prime zone? People always talk about water, or this, or that. There's creeks and streams everywhere. There's ponds everywhere out here.
And there's food everywhere they go.
So
Every place.
Why are they choosing these certain areas? Is it just safety? Or is it where they can easily access, you know, for me or you to walk a mile through the woods, it might be tiring. They could walk 5 miles a day, 6-10 miles a day through the woods, and it's like nothing to them.
Nothing, just moving, nothing at all.
You know, they don't have a watch. They don't have time. They don't have things to do. They live out here.
That's the thing that freaks me out about it so much. You know, like here, you look for rubber, whatever, and you know there's a field here, and basically you see they have this is such a rich area. They don't have to move much to find anything they like. So there's got to be something special that does more.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
And
like I was asking
where the
about,
ley lines come in.
Like I was asking about them pin cherries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, why would these certain leaves be left at certain locations? Bro, you know what I mean? Like, you know how you get an oak grove, like a pine grove? There's certain groves of trees that grow together.
Yeah.
If you can find what they really want at certain times, you can narrow it down.
I think the berries are another good indicator.
Are the strawberries big?
No, but big enough where it would be very easy for them to get a bite. Yeah, like they're not like blueberries or blackberries where you can get but they're big enough, yeah.
I know where there's a section that's got tons of berries. And when we were all together, I was going to go try to hit it and take a walk through there and see what we found.
I'd like to, because I'll tell you, that's what you hear out west. How many times you hear somebody scooping them out of a blueberry bush. And we do have a lot of good berries in this area. That's a big
The whole county's littered with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's, you know, this is how I got into this metal detecting. There's homesteads everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, way off the trail. And it's like, I don't even know why people would live way out here. You know?
That place I was in Panama had, they were like 2 old cabins that have been there. The family that owned it came like in the 1700s. And I guess there's a brother out there, and he had wrote to his family to come share the place with them. And by the time they got out, they found him like dead in the cabin. There's a bunch of different lore out there, yeah. No foul play or nothing. It's natural causes, but then I tell you, man, it's just old. You can tell that the area is ancient.
Oh yeah. I noticed too that everybody across the board has talked about Bigfooting, or that talks about Bigfooting, I should say, always talks about pine trees, how they're near pines. Now this isn't a big section of pines, but it's still pines. It gives them good cover, whatever it may be. You know.
Well, and then I mean, pine cones. They can eat the pine nuts. A lot of times when you find them ripped apart, you know, that's a good source of food. But shelter in the winter, you know, that's probably a good thing. I tend to hear a lot of stuff, people getting spooked in the long, thick pines, like where they had set up in the, you know, in the state lands where they put them in 30 years, 40 years ago, and they're just really thick.
Well, see, the thing about those pines, I mean, there's a difference. If you've got tall pines, it's harder for them to hide.
Yeah.
When you got short pines like this, there's more coverage for them.
Yeah.
It's easy, you know, a lot of them tall pines, the pines don't start till 12 foot in the air.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, then you could just see across the whole bottom. They like the low foliage. It breaks them up.
Yeah, that's true. Like in here, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like that, where it's really thick.
People don't get that you can just walk right by one, you know, 30 yards away, and it just stands there. And they're like, well, how can I do that? Well, that's what happens.
Yeah, they just know how to blend in.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, if it's the vibration that keeps them hidden or whatever.
I don't know.
I just know that there's more than we, you know, like you say with science. Is science going to be able to answer this so far? I mean, we know they're here, you know. They can
how many thousands of sightings?
Yeah, and year after year by credible people, you know.
Cops, judges, researchers, you know, government agents that...
Housewives that wouldn't lie to save, you know, whatever.
And people just don't understand, you know, they just want to sit there and, I don't know.
Well,
a lot of ridicule goes around.
I think it's really hard for somebody that doesn't live in the country or in an area where woods are accessible, or where, you know, to understand how vast, how thick, you know, even if they've camped at a local camp that's got a little bit of woods, you know.
I'll tell you something about a lot of people. They'll call themselves, you know, weekend warriors or researchers. 90% of them go out, have the camp just to get drunk, get hammered, and they're not, you know, they just want to see one.
Yeah.
They're not really into thinking.
Walking around or looking for them.
Well, you know, there's no independent thinking going on.
Yeah.
What it could be, why, how, what it does, where does it move. I try to put myself in its shoes. I tell people if I'm looking for a buck and I'm hunting a big buck, I'm looking for buck rubs, to where he's going to, where he's coming from, where his food and bedding is, where his tracks are going, what does is he following, and I'm trying to set up on him. So when I could figure out, you know, where they're moving, where their tracks are coming and going from, then we could try to set up on them.
Yeah.
We could get some maybe video evidence, better proof, better things. And this area just happens to, for some reason, it's starting to blossom right now.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're hanging out here. Could it be the strawberries? Maybe when the strawberries run out, maybe that's when they go that north.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I saw strawberries, but it's not like I saw any giant patches of them, spurs or anything.
Right.
For that matter, maybe it's not even something that's a draw for them, you know?
They won't even be ready till August, probably.
No, they're actually ready now.
Full?
Well, it's like, have you ever had strawberries in the lawn? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's little ones like that.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, they're full and ready. Some of them look, I actually ate one. It's pretty sweet.
That's one thing I won't do is eat stuff from the wild.
probably not a bad idea. I mean, I won't eat anything. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
you know, but I was lucky enough to grow up with a grandmother who took me out.
Showed you?
Yeah. My sister actually had eaten poison berries too, so I knew when I was a kid what was bad and what wasn't.
Where I used to live, I used to have black raspberries
Yeah.
right behind the house. Oh, dude.
Those are the best.
We had like bushes, probably 50 foot long, the whole little row, and they used to blossom something fierce.
Yeah, our neighbor had them, and he actually used to keep the pie tins out there so to keep the birds away.
Yeah.
But he'd let us go through there, and man, you can put some of those away quick, but it takes forever to get a little bit, you know.
For sure.
Little bowl.
Whoop! Whoop!
All the little bends, and I also. Noticing eating. I've also been noticing like some eating.
Yeah, the way they weave. Yeah. I try all different types of tactics, from experiments to flesh and blood, thinking to everything, because you don't never know.
It's like somebody says you're not going to have any luck with the howling, but how many times have we done right off the road and you've howled and we hear them doing their
Getting it back.
yeah.
People don't take the time to travel the roads or use maps, or they just say, "Oh, this is woods. It's a good location." It don't work like that. They use certain corridors, certain travel ways, pinch points. You got to apply certain things to where they will and won't cross. 90% of the time, they're not going to walk through an open field when they can go woods to woods if they cross a road.
It would make no sense.
Right? Why leave yourself out there? They don't want to be seen.
And I guarantee if they are, they've been, in this area, growing up here, I just have to wonder how many people have saw them, shot at them. I grew up with these boys out here that,
If they do, they're not going to tell you about it.
No.
A lot of tree snaps. And that will draw them.
The little kids and stuff.